Coach Prime and the Buffs keep on rolling. They made easy work of Nebraska 36-14 in their home opener. And it's funny how not a lot of people are talking about how Deion Sanders has just made history. In less than a year, he's already doubled Colorado's win total. This team only won one damn game last year, and they already have won two in their first two games. They beat TCU, who not too many people saw that shit coming. And then, even then, people thought that Nebraska was going to be able to run the football at will, which they were at times, and give Nebraska the win. But Colorado, for the most part, their defense played really well. They hung in there, and Jeff Sims, whew, Matt Rule. But starting off with Colorado, I think that Colorado is a legit team. I've been saying this all off season. They're a top 25 team, and people severely underrated the talent on this Colorado roster. It's like they don't got a lot of depth, but they got enough difference makers such as Shadur, Travis Hunter, Xavier Weaver, Jimmy Horn Jr., and solid players in the secondary that unless you got some of those difference makers on your team, you're not really going to be able to beat them. Now, when they play Oregon and USC, that's going to be a different story because those guys have their own versions of Travis Hunter and Shadur Sanders and whatnot. They have the same amount of blue chip players, if not more. But I'm looking at Deion Sanders, the fact that they made easy work in Nebraska. I think people need to start really taking this team seriously. At least a top 25 team. They're in the top 25, but people still are kind of doubting this team. They don't believe.
Well, I know you've been real high on Colorado the whole season. I was one of those people that was like, yeah, they'll get 4 wins. I did not think they would be legit because I was like, all right, they're bringing in a bunch of people from Jackson State and from where Deion was, and I'm like, all right, they might be okay, but I'm like, they're probably not going to be up to the talent of like these teams. That I was like, give him a year and let him get some more recruits, and I was like, then he'll probably be pretty good. I'm like, first year probably not, but they're legit, man. They are definitely just. I mean, they're a lot better on, especially defense than I thought they were. I know because a lot of people were like, "Oh, they beat TCU, gave up 42 points," but this is a TCU team that will score often. That's a TCU team that has a really good offense. But I mean, their defense was clamped the hell out of Nebraska. They could barely move the ball, other than that big run by Jeff Sims to start the third quarter. They didn't do anything on offense. I think this Colorado team is going to be dangerous coming forward. Now they have two tough games coming up. They play Oregon, USC back to back. After they play Colorado State next week, which they'll blow them up by probably 40. And then they got Oregon and USC after that. That'll really be the true test, but I definitely think they're up to the challenge. Shadur Sanders was making some crazy plays that I don't think a lot of quarterbacks in college football are making. And I mean, Travis Hunter played on both sides of the ball. They got speed, and I think they can hang with pretty much anyone. I didn't realize how much roster turnover they actually had because I was like, this team won one game last year. Basically, their whole team's like people from that one-win team. I don't even know if like there's any of them that are, if they're left, they're not getting playing time. So definitely do not sleep on Colorado the way I was in the offseason because I thought they'd be bad, and they are definitely a force to be reckoned with.
For Nebraska, this team does not look good. They don't have much talent on offense. They don't got a good offensive line. We were talking about Colorado's offensive line being a concern going into this season. Nebraska's offensive line, when it comes to pass blocking, don't even ask. I mean, goodness. And then Jeff Sims, my brother from the 904, they should have took him out. But it's like when they were thinking about taking him out, he made a big play. But at the end of the day, you're not going to win too many games. I don't know what the hell it is about these Big Ten teams. They either have a elite defense and absolutely zero offense, or they got a mid or slightly above average offense with no defense. And with Matt Rule, we know he's known for being a rebuilder. Some people thought that maybe with the new age of college football that he's walking into with the transfer portal on NIL, he could maybe get this thing rolling in year one. But he's never really been somebody to make it happen in year one. He's always been a multi-year guy. And with Deion Sanders, it just puts so much pressure on a guy like Matt Rule that, people are going to be expecting results immediately. But Jeff Sims is not it at QB, and I don't think the backup they have is it either. It's just going to be a really tough season for them. I think, for Nebraska, your defense will keep you in games, but the only way you can really win is if you run the hell out of Jeff Sims and the other running backs that they have. That's about it.
I felt really bad for Jeff Sims during that game because I thought he was going to die during that game. He got no blocking from his O-line hung him out to dry. Every time he would even try to run a little bit, I'm like, someone from Colorado's going to, I'm like, Travis Hunter's going to take his head off. I will give credit to Jeff Sims for at least sticking through that game because he played bad. Really wasn't all his fault. He got no help from his team, but he's
a
not
deer headlights out there, man. He's a deer headlights out there. They might as well have just went Wildcat or QB power every play. You got to bet their best drives came when they had big runs versus big passes. That's bad.
Yeah, Nebraska ain't it. And I will tell you, I got a buddy that goes to Northern Illinois. He's licking his chops about that game next year. Illinois. I'm telling you right now, Northern Illinois is usually one of the better group of 5 teams. If you're looking for an upset week 3, take the Huskies.